third graders. So by now you should have tried and made some estimates of where different times would go on this timeline right here. And you also should have connected those times to some things that you do throughout the day. Now remember, some of the places you've seen timelines before is in some of our reading lessons. We've seen timelines of lots of different things, and normally we see them showing different years throughout time. But as you can see, a timeline can also show hours throughout the day. So the important thing about timelines is that the time should be proportionate to each other. So I'm going to show you my work for how I found out what time should go on each of these empty marks. So we noticed that the time here, it starts at 6 a.m. And then the next time that we know for sure is that this spot is for 12 p.m. or noon. So now how can we find out what time should go right here? Well, you may notice that this mark is exactly in the middle of 6 a.m. and 12 o'clock noon. So to find out what time should go there, we can actually go ahead and look at our clock here and try and find out what would be halfway in between 6 o'clock and noon. So I'm going to leave the little hand there because I'm just dealing with hours. And so here's 6 o'clock and here's 12 o'clock. Now, what do you think would be halfway in between 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock? Let's see, though. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours between them. So what would be half of 6 hours? That's just 3. So what if we just counted 3 hours past 6? 1, 2, 3. That would leave us at 9. And you know what? It does look like 9 is halfway in between 6 and 12 o'clock. So that's how I was able to figure out that at this mark here, that should be 9 o'clock. And it would still be a.m. because it's still before noon. So it would be 9 o'clock. So we do a 9:00 a.m. I'll make it a little bit smaller. So right there is 9 o'clock a.m. Now let's find out what would go here. So this time is afternoon. So we know it's going to be at p.m. So starting at 12 o'clock, we know the next time shown on our timeline after that is 6 o'clock. And you know what? Again, I'm noticing it looks like this mark is exactly halfway between noon and 6 o'clock. So just like last time, the difference between them is the same. They both have 6 hours in between them. So to find out what would be halfway between them, we can just count past 3 hours. And this time we're going to be going clockwise. So that means we are going to be counting this way. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 hours past 12 is 3 o'clock. And 3 o'clock is halfway in between noon and 6 o'clock p.m. So we would know that here on this timeline would be 3 o'clock p.m. So 3 p.m. So I could write that on the timeline. That is 3 p.m. So again, it's important to notice that everything before noon or 12 o'clock in the afternoon, everything before that is a.m. And what happens after noon or after 12 o'clock in the afternoon, that's p.m. And a.m. will start up again at midnight. So starting at midnight at 12 o'clock at night, that's when a.m. begins. So that's how I filled in these blanks on my timeline. And something you might have talked about is what time you would do different activities throughout the day and where that would go on our timeline. So I'm going to show you a couple of ones that I was thinking about. So I was thinking about how a lot of days I wake up at 7 in the morning. That would be 7 a.m. So where would 7 a.m. go on this timeline? Well, I know it's somewhere in between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. That's already here. So let's go. Let's see where 6 a.m. is here and 9 is here. And if I wake up at 7 a.m., that's about here. So let's see. So there's 3 hours in between 6 and 9. But in 7 a.m. is 1 hour after 6 a.m. So I think that 7 a.m. is about 1/3 of the way through these two numbers. So I think it would also be about 1/3 of the way through on this timeline. So I'm going to write that in about right here, because I think that would be about 1/3 of the way through. So that's 7 a.m. And what do I do at 7 a.m.? I wake up. Now let's see, what's something that we might all do at nighttime? Well, most of us, we eat dinner around nighttime. Maybe around 5 o'clock is when I usually eat dinner. So 5 o'clock would be somewhere between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock p.m. So let's see how that would look on our clock. So somewhere between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And so 5 o'clock, it looks like it would be about 2/3 of the way from 3 to 6. So if I broke this up into thirds between 3 and 6, it would be about right here. So I'm going to draw my line here. Oops. To show that I eat dinner at 5 o'clock. I'm just going to move it to the side a little bit. So yeah, at 5 o'clock, I eat dinner. So there's some ideas of things that you could have written on this timeline.